Barbra Streisand, once the queen of stage and screen, is now 83 years old. And her life today is not what many expected. With a career full of awards, fame, and unforgettable music, fans imagined her golden years would be filled with joy and celebration. But instead, what's behind the gates of her quiet world is something far more heartbreaking. Why did she live in isolation? Did the world truly push her away? Join us as we explore the life of Barbra Streisand at 82 and why she lives so sad. The early life of Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand was born in Brooklyn, New York on April 24, 1942, to parents Diana and Emanuel Streisand. Both her parents worked at the same school, with her mother as a secretary and her father as a teacher. Her mother once had aspirations for a music career, while her father was focused on teaching. Streisand's family had Jewish heritage, with her father's parents from Galicia and her mother's from the Russian Empire. Barbra's father passed away when she was a little over a year old due to issues from an epileptic seizure. He was 34 years old. His death caused financial difficulties for the family. Her mother had to work hard to support them, managing the responsibilities of both parent and provider. Barbra often felt isolated and unlike other children, as she did not have a father returning home like they did. Barbra always had a passion for music and performing. Even though she faced challenges, she was inspired by her mother, who had a beautiful voice and sang occasionally. When Barbra was 13, she recorded some songs with her mother during a trip to the Catskills. This experience ignited a passion in her and made her feel like an artist for the first time. Barbra was raised alongside her older brother, Sheldon. In 1950, her mother remarried, giving her a half-sister named Rosalind Kind, who also pursued a career in singing. Despite facing difficulties at home, Barbra took solace in her aspirations and dreams. She started attending a Jewish Orthodox yeshiva at the age of 5. Her teachers noticed that she was smart, but had trouble following rules. She would frequently blurt out answers and had a lot of energy. Eventually, she transferred to Public School 89 in Brooklyn. It was around this time that she fell in love with movies and TV shows. Since she was little, she had aspirations of becoming a celebrity and leaving her Brooklyn community behind. People in her community began to recognize her gift for singing. She frequently sang on the stairs of her apartment complex, causing her melodic voice to resonate throughout the hallways. Her vocal abilities distinguished her from others, and she capitalized on her talent to attract attention. Her first public performance was at a PTA gathering, where she received accolades from the audience, despite her mother's lack of enthusiasm. Gradually, she started receiving invitations to sing at weddings and summer camps. Although an audition at MGM Records did not result in a contract, she was gradually making progress towards her musical aspirations. When she was 13, her mother started to encourage her talent further. Together, they made a demo with 4 songs, including some well-known classics. However, Barbra did not only aspire to be a singer, she also dreamed of becoming an actress. This ambition was solidified after seeing The Diary of Anne Frank on Broadway. The main actress made a lasting impact on her, leading Barbra to realize that acting was her true passion. During her free time, she enjoyed reading about famous actresses and studying acting methods from books. She absorbed information on performance, ranging from biographies of stage actors to complex acting theories. She finished school early at 16 and did not listen to her mother's advice to avoid the entertainment industry. Barbra rented a small apartment close to the theater district and fully committed herself. She took on any jobs available, going door to door and visiting casting offices with the goal of achieving her dreams. So how was she able to chase her dream and become what she has always wanted? Barbra's journey to stardom. Barbra started her journey by bravely leaving home to fend for herself. While her peers were in school, she was working various odd jobs and moving her cot around to find a place to sleep. When times got very tough, she would go to her mother's house in Brooklyn for a hot meal. Even though her mother did not approve of her dream of performing, Barbra stayed determined in pursuing her passion. The woman's first job at the Luntfontein Theater was as an usher, which allowed her to be closer to the stage. After her audition for a role she did not get, the casting director advised her to focus on her singing voice, which gave her a new perspective. With the help of her boyfriend, Barry Denon, she recorded demo tapes and was impressed by how strong and captivating her voice sounded. Encouraged by her friends, Barbra decided to participate in a talent show at the Lion in Greenwich Village. The audience went from quiet to loud cheers as she performed, and she ended up winning the contest. This win landed her regular gigs, and she even changed the spelling of her name from Barbra to Barbra. Shortly after, she landed a job at the prestigious nightclub Bonsoir, where she opened for the famous comedian Phyllis Diller. This was her first paid gig, and it helped launch her career in show business. Denon introduced her to famous singers like Billie Holiday, which helped her create her special style of singing. A song called A Sleepin' Bee gave her emotional support and helped her develop her musical style. Barbra started engaging with her audience through jokes, which made people like her, and received positive feedback from critics. Even though her first theater production was not successful, she persevered. Her new manager, Martin Ehrlichman, arranged for her to perform in various cities and eventually landed her a spot at the Blue Angel Club in Manhattan, where she excelled. This led to her major opportunity in the play I Can Get It For You Wholesale. She acted alongside Elliot Gould, whom she later married. The play's triumph earned her a Tony nomination and expanded her fan base with its cast recording. Barbra made her debut on The Tonight Show, followed by more TV appearances that highlighted her distinct voice and charisma. Her standout performance of a slowed-down Happy Days Are Here Again on The Gary Moore Show became iconic. She quickly became a beloved guest on talk shows and also had the opportunity to perform in Las Vegas with the help of Liberace. When she was 21 years old, Barbra signed a contract with Columbia Records instead of focusing on making money. Her debut album, the Barbra Streisand album, was a big success and received 3 Grammy Awards. She released another album shortly after and started performing all over the country by the end of 1963. In 1964, Barbra Streisand appeared in a successful Broadway show called Funny Girl, where she gained attention for singing songs like People and Don't Rain on My Parade. She did not win a Tony Award for her performance, but was recognized as a star of the decade. In 1966, she brought Funny Girl to London's West End and also appeared in 4 TV specials that won awards. By that time, Barbra Streisand had become a highly respected and famous figure. So when did her breakthrough come? Let's find out. When the world finally recognized Barbra. In the 1960s, Barbra Streisand became popular in the music industry with her first album, which stood out. Her early music had deep emotions and drama, featuring songs from cabaret and Broadway with her special touch. Even happy songs like Happy Days Are Here Again sounded new and meaningful when she sang them. She kept impressing audiences with her next albums, which highlighted her strong singing skills and talent for giving old songs a new sound. She had a breakthrough on The Judy Garland Show, performing with iconic musicians and shining brightly. Her young energy and classic appeal mixed well, gaining her quick admiration. At the start of her career, she put out albums connected to her TV shows that included loved medleys and songs. When musical tastes changed in the late 60s, she courageously tried out new genres like rock, even if it did not always match her style. Despite this, her vocals continued to keep her popular. In 1971, she achieved great success with the album Stony End, mixing pop and ballads to show her ability to adapt to changing musical trends. The 1970s were a particularly successful decade for her, with hits like The Way We Were, Evergreen, and No More Tears topping the charts and showcasing her versatility. She also found success with duets and songs from movie soundtracks, becoming as beloved as iconic artists like Elvis Presley and the Beatles. In 1980, her album Guilty, produced by Barry Gibb, continued her winning streak with more chart-topping hits. making it her most successful album to date. In 1985, Streisand went back to her Broadway beginnings with the Broadway album. Even though her label had doubts, it ended up being a huge success. She collaborated with renowned composers such as Stephen Sondheim and received a Grammy, demonstrating that traditional music was still relevant. She attempted to replicate this success with another album featuring songs from popular musicals, but she was not satisfied with the outcome. Many of these songs were never released, except for a few that appeared on her 1988 album, Till I Loved You. In the 1990s, Streisand took a break from performing to focus on directing. In 1991, she released a box set called Just for the Record, which included rare songs and fan favorites. She also became involved in politics in 1992, supporting Bill Clinton and introducing him at his opening ceremony. That year, she released Back to Broadway, which quickly reached #1 and included a duet with Johnny Mathis. In 1993, she surprised her fans by announcing a concert tour after being away from live shows for many years. The tickets for the tour sold out quickly, making it the most profitable tour of the year. The concerts were eventually made into a successful TV special that won an Emmy Award. Following the tour, she shifted her focus to her personal life, began a relationship with James Brolin, and got back into directing. In the late 1990s, she made a comeback to music with a duet called I Finally Found Someone with Bryan Adams. The song was popular and got her another gold record. She then released Higher Ground in 1997, which had uplifting themes and a duet with Celine Dion. In 1998-8, she tied the knot with Brolin and in 1999 brought out A Love Like Ours, a romantic album that received some mixed reviews but also had some success. As the year 2000 was getting closer, she was getting ready to stop performing. Her concert on New Year's Eve was completely sold out, and she also released a live concert album called Timeless, Live in Concert, which she performed in Australia as well. She mentioned that this would be her last live performance, but she continued to stay active. In 2001, she came out with an album called Christmas Memories, and in 2003, she released the Movie album, which paid tribute to classic film music with orchestral accompaniment. In 2005, she teamed up with Barry Gibb for Guilty Pleasures, which was another success among her longtime fans. In 2006, Streisand's tour set new records for ticket sales. Some fans and critics believed she was charging too much, with some tickets costing more than $1,000. Even though there was criticism, the tour made a lot of money and proved that she was still popular. Over time, she had to learn to juggle her desire for perfection with the expectations of her fans and the pressures of the industry. She frequently battled stage fright and would sometimes stay away from live shows for extended periods. But what challenges did she face during this period? The battles behind the spotlight. Barbra Streisand rose to fame in both music and film, despite facing numerous obstacles along the way. Despite facing difficulties early on, she persevered and worked tirelessly to achieve the success she is known for today. Barbra's father passed away when she was very young. This led to financial difficulties for her family, and she spent her formative years in a small apartment in Brooklyn with limited funds. Her mother wasn't very encouraging about her aspirations, often saying she did not have the looks to make it as a star. This created feelings of isolation and self-doubt for Barbra. She did not fit the typical Hollywood image and faced ridicule for her appearance and voice. However, instead of changing herself to conform, she chose to remain authentic. When she began performing in small venues, a lot of people did not get her style. She stood out because of her unique way of singing and dressing. Some critics criticized her, and she faced skepticism from others. Despite this, she continued to perform even when audiences were small or unresponsive. Over time, people started to recognize her unique talent. Things did not become easier for Barbra as she pursued acting. In Hollywood, most leading roles were given to women who met a specific physical standard, which Barbra did not fit. She had to work extra hard to show she had acting, singing, and directing skills. Some people in the industry did not take her seriously, especially when she attempted to direct her movies. Female directors were rare at the time, and Barbra faced resistance. But she refused to give up. Barbra took a major risk with her film Yentl, where she both directed and starred. It took a long time to make, and many doubted its success, but she believed in it, and the movie turned out to be a hit. Being famous came with its challenges. The more attention she received, the more she faced criticism and scrutiny. She had to handle bad press, rumors, and intrusions into her private life. Some people labeled her as difficult and demanding simply for asserting herself. Striving for perfection in a world dominated by men made her vulnerable to criticism. However, Barbra remained resolute in pursuing her goals and refused to compromise. Her romantic relationships were difficult because she was constantly in the spotlight. Dealing with breakups and heartbreak was even more challenging due to the media scrutiny. She had to guard her happiness from criticism from others. She faced personal struggles with health issues and stage fright. Sometimes, her nervousness prevented her from performing in front of an audience. She avoided concerts for a while due to the stress. However, she eventually overcame her fears and delivered amazing performances when she made a comeback. Barbra Streisand's love life. In the late 1990s, Barbra Streisand's music career saw a new phase with the release of the song I Finally Found Someone with Bryan Adams. The song was featured in the movie The Mirror Has Two Faces, which she also directed. It reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and received an Oscar nomination. This achievement brought her back to the top 10 after a long break and gave her another gold-certified single. In 1997, she released the album Higher Ground, which had a spiritual and inspirational vibe. The album included a duet with Celine Dion and debuted at number 1, showing that her fans were still dedicated and supportive. She got married to James Brolin in 1998. In the next year, she put out a romantic album called A Love Like Ours. The reviews for the album were mixed, but the song If You Ever Leave Me, featuring Vince Gill, did pretty well. As the year 2000 was getting closer, she made the decision to go back on stage. Her concert for New Year's Eve was completely sold out in just a few hours. This concert was eventually turned into a live album called Timeless, Live in Concert. She also brought the show to Australia. In 2000, she said that these concerts would be her final ones. However, even after making that statement, she continued to stay busy and involved. In 2001, she came out with Christmas Memories and the Movie album in 2003. The first album had a more sentimental feel, while the second one was a tribute to classic movie songs with a full orchestra. In 2005, she worked with Barry Gibb again on Guilty Pleasures, which was a successful follow-up to their previous collaboration. Fans enjoyed it, especially those who had been following her music for a long time. In 2006, she sang Smile with Tony Bennett at her home in Malibu. Their performance was shown on TV as part of Bennett's special and was later released on DVD. Following that, she shared that she would be going on tour again, this time to raise awareness for different causes. The tour began in Philadelphia after rehearsals in New Jersey, and she performed in several large cities such as Sunrise, Florida, and Los Angeles. In 2006, Barbra Streisand's tour set new records for ticket sales. Despite being 64 years old, she still attracted large audiences. She made over $92 million from only 20 shows and set records in 14 different arenas. Her concert at Madison Square Garden was the third highest grossing in the venue's history. Her New Year's Eve performance at MGM Grand in 1999 remains the top-grossing show at the venue. The expensive ticket prices caused some people to be surprised. Some fans and critics believed she was charging too much, with some tickets priced over $1,000. Despite the criticism, the tour made a lot of money and proved that her popularity was still strong. Throughout her career, She had to juggle her desire for perfection with her fans' expectations and the industry's demands. She frequently faced stage fright and would go long periods without performing live. However, when she did take the stage, she always gave it her all. Despite facing criticism or doubt, Streisand never wavered. She remained faithful to her instincts and always followed her heart on every project. Political interests. Streisand's influence in politics is significant in addition to her personal life. She became a member of Women's Strike for Peace, an anti-nuclear organization, in the 1960s. By 1968, she was even more involved in activism, endorsing Eugene McCarthy, a candidate against the Vietnam War. Also in 1968, she participated in a concert to support the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and assist in fundraising for the underprivileged. During the 1970s and beyond, Streisand got very involved with the Democratic Party. She was even named in President Nixon's list of enemies in 1971. In 1972, she was the main act at a charity concert for George McGovern. The next year, she sang at a private event to raise money for Daniel Ellsberg's legal fees. Just from that event, $50,000 was collected through people paying to hear specific songs. In 1984, Streisand helped start the Hollywood Women's Political Committee with Jane Fonda and others. The group backed liberal causes and helped Democrats win in Congress and the White House. In 1995, she gave a speech at Harvard about the significance of funding for the arts and the role of artists in society. Streisand has been a strong supporter of LGBT rights. She backed the No on 8 movement to oppose a law that prohibited same-gender marriage in California. She has also spoken out about voter rights. In 2012, she criticized laws that required photo IDs for voting, saying they were discriminatory against elderly and minority individuals. She remained active in this area in 2020 by backing Vote Riders, a group that assists individuals in obtaining necessary identification for voting. She also has a strong commitment to Israel. In 2013, she gave a concert in Tel Aviv and took part in celebrating Shimon Peres's birthday. This was during her first concert tour in Israel, demonstrating her strong bond with the country. In 2017, Streisand joined the Women's March in Los Angeles to support equal rights alongside other women. The next year, she put out an album called Walls, where she shared her concerns about America going down the wrong path. Streisand worried that democracy was in danger and encouraged voting for leaders who value honesty and empathy. In 2023, she expressed her approval of President Joe Biden, admiring his leadership and values. How Barbra Streisand lives so sad at 83. Barbra Streisand, who used to be a famous singer and actress, now lives a quiet life away from public attention. She is 83 years old and resides in a lovely house in Malibu, enjoying the presence of the ocean, her dogs, and reflecting on her long and eventful life. Despite the peaceful surroundings, there is a sense of sadness that lingers in her life. She doesn't perform or travel as often as she used to. Her powerful voice is mainly heard in private moments at home now. Sometimes she sings quietly to herself while reminiscing over old letters and photos. Despite her husband, James Brolin, being with her, their large house feels lonely. Even though they love each other, she misses the excitement of her earlier days, the enthusiastic audiences, the bustling sets, and the creative atmosphere of music and art. Barbra has all the material possessions money can purchase, but she still experiences feelings of loneliness at times. Even though her son Jason visits frequently and she adores him, she often finds herself reminiscing about her late father, who passed away when she was a baby, and friends from her past. While fame has brought her many blessings, it has also stripped away her privacy, peace, and sometimes her ability to trust others. She continues to stand by causes she cares about, by making donations, writing letters, and speaking out when necessary. However, she seldom attends events or is seen in public. The world she influenced feels far away now. Times have changed, with new figures in the spotlight, and many have forgotten the challenges she overcame to reach her current position. She takes comfort in her garden. She spends a lot of time there among the flowers, taking care of her plants, and talking to her dogs like they are her closest companions. Her dogs bring her great happiness. They listen to her without criticizing and show her unconditional love. Barbra doesn't vocalize her discontent, but there is a noticeable melancholy in her gaze. This sadness is not due to any remorse for choosing her path, but rather because she is aware of how quickly time is passing. Even though her time in the spotlight has faded, her heart remains filled with the passion and energy of her younger years. Barbra Streisand's Sweet Legacy of Giving. Barbra Streisand is famous for her singing and acting abilities, as well as her kind and giving nature. Her philanthropic work started in 1984, when she gave a building to the Hebrew University of Jerusalem for Jewish studies. This donation was a tribute to her late father, who was an educator and scholar, and she wanted to honor his memory through education. She did not just stop at that. In the following years, she collected $20 million during her live shows for causes close to her heart, and in 1986, she went a step further by establishing the Streisand Foundation. This foundation has supported nearly 1,000 various national organizations. These organizations focus on preserving the environment, fighting for civil rights, addressing women's concerns, educating voters, and advocating for peace by promoting nuclear disarmament. In 2006, Streisand donated $1 million to help President Bill Clinton's efforts in combating climate change. After 3 years, she gave $5 million to support women's heart health at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which led to the establishment of a new heart center named after her. She later raised an additional $22 million for the same cause, bringing her total contribution to $10 million. The center became well known for improving heart care for women. She collected funds in an entertaining and fashionable manner. In 2009, she sold many of her belongings, such as clothing and decor. All proceeds were donated to her charity. One particular item, a painting, fetched a high price and generated additional backing for her charitable endeavors. She showed her caring nature by supporting both Israeli soldiers and families. In 2011, she attended a charity event to help raise funds for organizations that assist the Israeli Defense Forces. Then, in 2020, she made a meaningful gesture to Gianna Floyd, the daughter of George Floyd. She gave the young girl Disney shares, which will help secure her future. In 2022, the president of Ukraine asked Streisand to be an ambassador for a new project called United 24. Streisand agreed and raised $240,000 for medical needs in Ukraine. Barbra Streisand's generous acts go beyond just giving money. They are gifts filled with love, compassion, and remembrance. Her generosity doesn't just stop at monetary donations, but also extends to helping women, advocating for rights, and offering hope to countless individuals.